the room seems coming.
Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things West Indies cricket. By the fans, for the fans. Welcome, people. Welcome to, what is this? Caribbean Cricket Cuss Out, Caribbean Cricket Rumshot Diaries, Caribbean Cricket T20 Review, Caribbean Cricket Let's Just Give Up Hope, Caribbean Cricket Bun This Team, Caribbean Cricket World Cup's done, boy. It's done, bruv. It's over. Zimbabwe are going to lick us down on Wednesday and World Cup's going to be over. How about that? Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. My name is Machel, St. Patrick here, one half of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. Santoki is not available. He's currently on holiday at the moment. So I had the immense displeasure of watching the West Indies get licked down today by Scotland. But you know what? You know what? It is what it is, people. It is what it is. Anybody who's been following any of our recent videos or any kind of the content we've put out on West Indies on 99.94, if you follow us on Twitter, etc., all day there's been like back and forth but with people saying stuff like, most recently people saying, you make excuses for Cricket West Indies. Bun all that chat, man. Bun that waste man chat, okay? We're not here to speak for Cricket West Indies. We're not here to speak for any of you. My opinion right now, this is just my opinion. Santoki's opinion is Santoki's opinion. We can only speak for ourselves. So if people want to read what we say or listen to what we say and then apply their own meaning to what they see us type or what we say, that's on you. That ain't on me. That's on you. Ultimately, it boils down like this. Was that West Indies defeat unacceptable? 100%. 100%. What do you want me to say? That it was acceptable? It was 100% unacceptable. Was it a surprise? No. No. And let me be frank here. Anybody who saw that defeat today as a surprise, I'm going to say facts. You don't study West Indies cricket properly. You don't study it properly. None of that performance today was a surprise to me. None of it. I've seen this. If you've been watching this West Indies T20 side since last year, you didn't think they had this in their locker. You didn't think they had an embarrassment in their locker. Come on, man. Let's be real, people. Let's be real. Was I not the same person who went on West Indies on 99.94 no less than 2-3 days ago? That video dropped, and the exact words I used were, go and watch it back, because I watched it back today because I was like, wait, am I being crazy here? Did I not say this to people? My exact words to Santoki on the episode were, Santoki, we are going to definitely lose one game. That's how I started off. I said, Santoki, we're definitely losing one game. And I said to him, the only way and the only reason I think we might go through is because 2 teams go through. I said, Santoki, if it was only one team going through, there is no way West Indies make it out of the group. Those were the exact words I said to him. And then Santoki said to me in reply, are you saying that the best we can do is only second in the group? And I said, yes. I said, yes, if we go through, we're going through in second. We're not winning no group. We're not winning no group. Now, what I want people to understand is, how comes I concede that? And then when I tried to say this after the match, everyone's like, nah, what are you talking about? Forget that we are called West Indies. Just let me take my glasses off. I'm getting upset out here. You know. Face is tired and all sorts. Forget that we are called West Indies for a minute. And if it helps some of you lot, look at the analogy as if we're Manchester United. I think for some of you, you see the name Scotland, Zimbabwe, and Ireland, and you assume that we must be better than them. You assume we must be. For the longest while, I've been saying that in white ball cricket and for a long while Test cricket, we are an associate side. I don't want throwing words at me like, no, but we're full member. All that stuff's outdated. That don't mean nothing anymore. That don't mean anything. Yeah, we're full member in name only. We can get a lick down from anybody nowadays. Anyone can get us. That doesn't, but catch this, that doesn't mean it's acceptable, but I'm not surprised. And I am shocked if anybody watched that performance today and was like, rah, Scotland are beating us. It's not a surprise. Ireland licked us down at the start of the year in the ODI series. You lot forgotten that already? They licked us down. 3 matches, we lost 2 in the ODI series. We can get it from anybody. Anybody. And I don't see how me saying this is controversial. And it's not making excuses. As far as I'm concerned, it's facts. It's just pure facts. This summer or this year in T20s, right? So I think some people said to me, but West Indies beat England at the start of the year. Yeah, we did. Pollard was still around then. I'm not saying Pollard made a difference, but here's the thing. And I warned people about this. I warned people. You see, last year, boy, you lot got out here feeling emotional, man. You lot got me out here emotional. You see, last year, when we picked the Golden Oldies side that flopped at the World Cup in 2021, right? The response to that was everyone said, get rid of them. It's the selector's fault. How could they pick such a squad? You should have picked these players, pick that player, pick that player. And I always remember that at the time, Sanka and I said, those of you who are long-term followers of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast will say I'm talking facts here. At the time, Sanka and I said, the players that everyone was calling for, the players who are now in this year's World Cup squad, we said, they ain't ready. They ain't ready for World Cup. That didn't mean we should have taken the Golden Oldie side, but I understood why we tried to go for one last dance. Didn't work. Roger Harper paid for it with his job. He was sacked as a selector. Miles Bascombe was sacked as a selector. And everyone's like, change the selectors. They picked that squad. It's their fault. Every time we reach a nadir in West Indies cricket, people want to find the scapegoat to blame. It's bigger than individuals, people. The system is flawed. And this ain't going to get fixed. This ain't going to get fixed with a change the batting lineup, change this one man for this next man, change the coach for this next coach, change the selectors for this selector, It's bigger than all of this, man. And that's why I get tired when we reach our latest nadir, everybody wants to tell me, do this one thing. There is no one thing that fixes West Indies cricket. There's no one thing. Nothing. If you want to talk meaningful change, you have to embed a systematic overhaul, and you have to let me start that sentence again. You have to embed a systematic overhaul and then stick to it. Stick to it. Otherwise, we return to these positions over and over and over again. Rinse, repeat. Rinse, repeat. Bring that man in. Change that batter. Change that bowler. Change that captain. Change that selector. 22 plus years West Indies been failing at cricket. And you lot still want to go down it's this one person's thing. So let me go back and rewind. 2021, we got rid of Roger Harper and Miles Bascombe, yeah? We got rid of them because people said it was the selector's fault for last year's World Cup because they selected that squad. Cool. I said to people, foolishness, but anyways, they get sacked. Whatever, they're gone. In comes Desmond Haynes. Some of the Barbadian public rejoice and say, this is what's going to fix West Indies cricket now. Then the next thing was people said, get rid of Pollard. It's his fault. Get rid of Pollard. He's the captain. That's why we're not winning. Get rid of Pollard. We beat England 3-2 at the start of the year. Pollard stands down and retires from West Indies duty. The same people who said get rid of Pollard were going, give it to Pooran. It's his time now. That's what will fix West Indies cricket. Pooran's his mind's looking scrambled out there. Remember, and again, long-term listeners of the long-term listeners of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast will remember that I said my worry for Pooran was that there ain't really no one for him to talk to in that squad. There ain't really no one to help guide him in that squad. So when he's making some of his decisions, which we question, I'm always like, who's helping my man out there? Who's the experienced head to help my man in these situations? So we can say, it's Pooran this, Pooran that, but the same people now looking at Pooran were the same people who call for Pollard to go. The same people who are the same people who call for Roger Harper to go and Miles Bascombe to go. So who goes now? Obviously, people are going to say Phil needs to go. I'll get to that in a minute. So after we get knocked out of the World Cup, people are going to say Phil needs to go. They're going to say Pooran needs to step down from captaincy. They won't dare touch Desmond Haynes, right? But arguably, based on this one performance so far, this World Cup is already worse than last year's World Cup. Last year's World Cup, we won one game versus Bangladesh, lost to every next man, crashed out the tournament. This year, we started off by losing to Scotland. We might not even make it through the group. Zimbabwe licked down Ireland today. They're looking likely to lick us down on Wednesday as well. Here's what it boils down to. And here's the analogy I draw. In the summer, I went to watch West Indies tour of the Netherlands, right? And for those of you who followed the stuff that we were tweeting and the videos I was doing, I made one specific point about that Netherlands tour. I said, when West Indies play these associate sides, unless we are on our full game, we will lose. Anybody who follows West Caribbean Cricket Podcast will remember I made this point. And I said, because we just played Pakistan, I think, beforehand, right? And the point I'd made is, when we play the top tier sides in international cricket, we have to play at our very best, and we have to hope that the top tier sides are off it by about 5%. The same maxim holds for the next set of teams below us. We have to be at our best. Sorry, they have to be at their best, and we have to drop it by 5% at minimum. But we aren't good enough to drop any percent against these lower tier sides. You see, if we drop our percent, we're losing. Facts, we're losing. We don't have a good enough set of players to get away with fumbling the bag against these associate sides. And this is where I have to critique the West Indian public. How much do you lot know about Scotland? I don't think you lot know about Scotland. I think some of you don't know about Scotland, because I think some of you just see the name Scotland and how West Indies losing to Scotland. I hear it. But if you study up Scotland cricket, this isn't that much of a... I mean, it's not even a surprise. It's a shock in the conventional sense. But if you actually study them up, it's not a shock. Go study up their players and see where they play. And man will say to me, yeah, but West Indian players play in IPL. Do I care? What's that got to do with anything? What's that? So what? West Indies players play for West Indies and we don't win very often. So what? They play for IPL. I don't care. Focus on what they do when they play for West Indies. And what they do is they don't win very often. So I don't care about whether they play for IPL. Okay, so study up, people. We got to stop this snobbishness. We're in no position as West Indian fans to take teams like Scotland lightly and then act shocked when they beat us. Listen, we're here. Them and Netherlands are just about there. And you see, Ireland, they're level with us. If you want to fully understand, Ireland and Zimbabwe, they're probably level with us. Scotland and Netherlands, just underneath us. That's the reality of the situation. That's the reality. Study up. Santoki messaged me earlier on. He sent me a message earlier on, and he said to me, "Let me find the message that Santoki said." I said, "You know what, Santoki? Man sent this to me from Santoki's in Morocco. You know, this is a message Santoki sent me, and I thought Santoki's so spot on. Where is it? Where is it? Let me find it. Santoki's. This is what he said. Oh, where is it? Where's the quote he put? Okay. Sorry, people. Let me find it. It was such a good message. Bear with me, people. Here we go. He said, "Mash, fundamentally, it's like this. West Indies play like an associate side, but we just have some better resources than them." And I thought, yeah, that's spot on. We are an associate side with better resources. That's it. But really and truly, strip away the resources, and we're no better than them. We're no better than them. Really and truly, when you break it down, we're no better than them. There's a reason. There's a reason why we have to qualify for the ODI World Cup. There's a reason why we have to qualify for the T20 main stage of the World Cup. Really and truly, we're no better than them. Really and truly. But like I say, it's bigger. In fact, I'm sorry, people. I know loads of you being in the comments. I had to get the opening monologue out of the way. So apologies if I've not been bringing up some comments. I'm about to go look at them now, but you lot have done enough comments. So I saw one from Jerome, which I'm going to start with. Jerome says we need to stop blaming players, coaches, and selectors. And that's my ultimate point. Until we're willing to accept that the problem is bigger than all this, we can change the players, we can change the coaches, we can change the selectors, but the system is the system. So in the background, what have Cricket West Indies been doing? What have Cricket West Indies been doing that suggests that they're trying to change things? I'll give you two things. One, they've purchased the Coolidge Cricket Ground. Remember that when Skerritt and that lot took over, the Cricket West Indies was 20 million in debt, and then we went into 2 years of COVID as well. Everybody in Cricket West Indies, including the players, had to accept half pay for a year. Was it? I think it was a year they had to accept half pay. Everyone had a 50% pay cut, right? That's not an excuse. I'm just saying facts, just facts, right? They've eventually now purchased Coolidge Cricket Ground. That means that West Indies now have a hub, an actual hub where they can show the other territories around the Caribbean how you build an academy hub, in essence. Until we have that in every territory, I don't see things immediately improving anytime soon. What they've got at Coolidge, you need to have one in Guyana. You need to have one in Trinidad. You need to have one in Jamaica. Until you have effectively an academy system all around, flipping fly. Until you have an academy system all around the Caribbean, you can't just have it in one place. But you've got to start. Sorry, you've got to start somewhere, and they're starting with Coolidge Cricket Ground. The other thing that they've done, which has taken years in the making for Cricket West Indies to finally realise will help standards improve, is the coach education program. So Chris Brabazon and that lot have gone around the Caribbean trying to upskill the coaches at the grassroots level. But again, that's the right thing to do. Those things are the right things to do, but those things don't guarantee any immediate fix. And so that's why I'm saying everyone can say, get rid of that man, get rid of that man, get rid of this next man. But until we change things systemically, we're always forever going to return to these said same arguments. Let me pick some comments. Some of you, if you had comments, might want to. So Chatil says you can dismiss IPL, but franchise owners are no fools. They keep picking these players because they see something. I disagree, Chatil. Any franchise owner who pays 1.2 million for Romario Shepherd is a fool. There, how about that? Next point from Chatil. When will players take responsibility? They play high quality T20 cricket all year round. That's true. That's true. We always want to blame the coaches. I'm yet to hear anyone really say like today's match, right? Here's an argument about today's match, which I've not really heard anyone say, right? You see the dismissals. You see the dismissals today. How like so I'm not trying to defend Phil here because I think Phil's gonna get sacked. Let me get that out of the way as well. I think Phil will get sacked after this World Cup. I've already said before this World Cup and actually a few months back that I think Phil should, at the bare minimum, somebody else should be introduced into the white ball setup to help Phil. That's at the bare minimum. My the goddamn fly getting into the sorry. That's at the bare minimum. My actual preference is that Phil steps away from the white ball duties. They split the duties. Phil stays with the test team because that's it. That is actually there is tangible improvement with the test side, and they bring in a different coach for the white ball sides. That's probably my preference at this stage, and I do think they're going to take the decision out of Phil's hands. All that said, though, today, at the end of the day, the player has the bat in their hand. You can't ask Phil Simmons to go out there and bat for these players. How many of those dismissals today were just out and out dunce cricket, pure dunce cricket? And at what point do you look at the players and go, but what are you doing, bro? What are you doing, bro? Because no coach would have told you to do that. That's your shot selection. That's you with the bat in your hand. That's you not reading the match situation. And don't get me wrong, the coach has to get the blame because someone's going to have to be held accountable. But you see these players, they get away with a lot, because they do this stuff again and again and again and again. And the thing is, we can drop. But who's there to replace them anyways? Because the same people who come in do the same thing. Shamar Brooks has just come off a really good end to CPL. Brandon King was a top scorer in CPL. You didn't see them man get out like they don't know what they're doing. So as much as you lot want to say, sack Phil, and yes, I think that will happen, the players have to be held accountable as well. The players have to be held accountable. Come on, man. You didn't see the dunce cricket today. That was like curry goat cricket. Some of the outs today was like curry goat cow lashing cricket. It don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. Puran's dismissal. What on earth was that? Rovman Powell's dismissal. What on earth was that? Look at the match situation, Rovman. It was something like 68 for 4. I think it was 68 for 4. Rovman says, you know what? Now's the time to try the big shot. Yes, the coach must be held accountable. But where is the part where we actually look at these players? Right, here we go. Jerome's making the point I'm about to make. Where's the part where we look at these players and just go, maybe they're not that good. Maybe they're just not that good. And the reason why I think we have to discuss this is because we're still caught in this idea that West Indies are a good T20 side because of our legacy in the format. We're still the only team to win the T20 World Cup twice. So I think our legacy goes ahead of us, right? So I'm just looking at Eliza's comment. Our legacy goes ahead of us. So I think that we think, and that by that I mean the fan base, I think we think the players are better than they actually are. But I'm here to say, maybe they're not actually that good, internationally. Yes, you can go to BPL, BBL, PSL, hit some runs here and there, and a man will write some words about you. But maybe they're not that good. Chantal says, but franchise owners think otherwise. So? Chantal, what about international cricket? A player is good if they prove it on the international stage for me. So, yeah, okay, fine. Franchise owners pick them up. Maybe they're not that good. When a player continually doesn't perform in the maroon, is it where's the part where we go, maybe you're just not that good? What, we can't say that? There's a good point here from Tom. Where is it? Tom says Scotland played smarter. Yeah, 100%. Look at Munsey's innings. Yeah, because Munsey got off to a flyer, and then when the rain break came, he couldn't reach the boundaries anymore. but he still dug it. He dug in. He dug in. All West Indies needed from their litany of batters was someone to dig in. Just dig in. When the wickets were falling, dig in. Rovman Powell went for a big shot. Shamar Brooks went for a big shot. Who else went for a big shot? Akil got himself run out, crazy run out. Nicholas Puran went for some cross-bat mad shot. Carl Mayers had hit a 4 and a 6, then just went for another big shot. Like, it's all right. It's all right to dig in. And yes, I guess there's an argument to say some of them haven't toured Australia before. They're not used to things. But boy. Yeah, Orin says here, Scotland also have players who clearly know their roles. So this is the point I was going to probably try and make about where I think our side is let down, right? I think I can't remember what video it was, but I think I said recently in a video, Rovman Powell is played in this side as a finisher, but I'm not convinced that's his best position to play. I think go back and look at a recent CCP video. I said Rovman in theory should be much higher up the order. Remember for the Talawars, they batted him at number 4. So I don't know, whatever, man. Whatever, it doesn't even matter because at the end of the day, we made 118. It don't matter where you bat these players. Like the pure dunce cricket was all I saw today anyway. So really and truly, it doesn't matter where you bat them. If you're going to get out in the way that loads of them got out, who cares where they're batting? Right, let's get some comments. So Medvis, big up Medvis, who's in the live. Medvis says, I'm curious about the locker room and its culture. I'm worried about how we kept bouncing batsmen around and having so much drama in our selection process. Yeah, we probably should have seen this coming with regards to the selection process. Evan Lewis was persona non grata and then just suddenly just got in the side when push came to shove. Listen, at the end of the day, though, we should... Nick says, I blame the cold weather. Demo says, hit the like button. I always forget to say that, people. Hit the like button, subscribe to Caribbean Cricket Podcast, etc. What was the point I was just about? I was just about to make a point. I was about to say something. Faraz is saying he backed Scotland. Good for you, Faraz, but oh well. There's a point I wanted to say, people. It's just gone off my head. Gone out my head even. Oh, I don't even know. Boy, sometimes like a performance is so bad, you just run out of things. You run out. Oh, sorry, that's what I was going to say. Here's the thing, people. In essence, right, we can still actually go through, and we have to stay positive. That's the whole point of rally around the West Indies. Like we've seen this before. We've seen disgrace before. Every time you think West Indies have reached their nadir, something new happens, and this is just the latest one. And all we can do, like all the other times before, is just we rally. We have to. Well, we ain't got nothing left. You just have to hope that the team turns up against Zimbabwe and realizes they have to play at their very best. And even then, I don't know if any of you have seen the forecast for Friday. It's just forecast to rain all day. So in many ways, what we have to do against Zimbabwe, not only do we have to win, we might have to win well, because if it does rain on Friday and the games wash out, just like I said on West Indies on 99.94, maybe it's going to have to come down to net run rate as to whether West Indies can make it through or not. So all they can do is focus on the next game, and all we can do is rally. That's all we can do. Anyways, people, someone said, is this a live? So do you know what? Let me drop the link in if anybody wants to come in live. I've actually got to plan some lessons for work tomorrow, so I'm going to be locking off this live at the very latest at the 50-minute mark. So 20 minutes left maximum. There's a fly in this room, you know. How the bloody hell did this fly get in this room? Blouse and skirt. So let me... Where's the link for this? Okay. Right, I'm putting the link into the comments, people. So if any of you are brave enough to put your face on the screen, jump into the bloody... 1 second. If any of you are brave enough to come onto the screen and say what you need to say, press the link and let's do our thing, because this is therapy, innit? Right, it should be in the chat now. So if you want to come on, speak now or forever hold your peace, people. Remember, though, I've got to plan a media studies lesson. So allow me, I'm gonna have to go at some point. Work tomorrow and all that. I've got up at 4:25 for that match. Anyways, who's coming in? Who's coming in on the live? Hey, who's coming in? Who's coming in? Press the link. Press the link. I should probably pin it. Press like as well. By the way, share, subscribe. Caribbean Cricket Podcast. All of that. All of that. All of that. All of that. Wait. So somebody said, "Is this a live chat?" Oh, someone's in the background. Ha! Okay, people. It's my guy out of Chirac coming through. Let me bring him in. Not Chirac, no, Detroit. Why did I say Chirac for? Sorry. Detroit in the house, 8 Mile. Let me bring Medvis on. 1 second, people. Yes, Medvis, what are you saying?
What's up, man? What's up?
I'm all good. I'm all good.
Here's my point. I think when you're struggling with the bat, it's helpful to have a strike wickets up front. I think Cottrell gets a chance to bring in early wickets. I think can he be to your point? He's expensive at the end, but if you can break up a partnership early, I think the Scotland one went for 52 for not. So I think if you can get an early wicket in, that can sometimes create the same tumbling effect that we kind of had. So I think you take a chance with Cottrell because he's had that track record of at least getting a 1 or 2 early wickets. But it's a gamble. It's a big gamble because you lose a batsman. So
if you bring Cottrell in, though, who you drop him?
Lewis. I put King back to open with Mayers.
Oh, snap. Okay.
I mean, you have to look at the track record with Mayers and King, right?
Yeah.
So it's risky, though. It's risky.
This is the thing. So when I did the video for the preview, I said, do we go with Cottrell? But when I said put Cottrell in, I said trust the batters to bat. But then today, the batters couldn't bat. So I hear what you're saying. I do. It's the balance in that between we need to strike in the power play versus can we trust these batters to actually perform? So I hear you.
You might drop Odin too because he's struggling with the bat and he's struggling with the ball. I like Odin, but he's struggling with both.
What about Brooks?
Oof. I don't know. That's a good one. I don't know. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, because he has some good. He's of late. He's been good, but he's not. He doesn't have a high scoring rate. Odin has a high strike rate. So,
boy,
it's tough.
Listen, before I go to anyone else, I'm intrigued because obviously, you often are giving some good insights, particularly on Twitter, etc., with regards to West Indies cricket. Looking wider beyond this World Cup, what's your views in general? So I'm saying Phil has to go after this, and Phil's my guy. So and the thing is, if I'm saying it and Phil's my guy, you know that I think this is what needs to happen. But what's your wider take on things?
I question the monetization plan of the Cricket West Indies and how they're actually going to grow the game. Right now, we can't fill a stadium, right? I mean, that was a consistent theme in 2021 as we had 2021 and 2022. We had half full stadiums. Outside of Barbados and to a degree in Grenada, we really struggled to get people into match. We have to grow the game at a grassroots level. I think the fact that our players can get more pay in the United States than they can in the Caribbean, like Rakeem Cornwall is a perfect example, is a problem. And so how do we leverage a U.S. market for advertisers in the Caribbean? So I need to see a better monetization. Right now, I feel like we're begging for tours from England. And who else wants to travel to the Caribbean and play test match cricket or play one days? And so we have to find a way to monetize. If the U.S., if minor league cricket is getting Toyota as a sponsor and we can't, that's a problem. That's a problem. So I'll jump so someone else to come on, but I think we have to grow the game at the girls level and the boys level at primary, build a fan base, because that's what the IPL has, right? What they're selling you is selling advertisers on viewers, and the cricket West Indies struggles to do that, right? And engaging the public. So I'll jump so other people can come on, but I think the Cricket West Indies has to have a strategy beside. I mean, England's not. I mean. You beg England for matches and now they're not coming down. So, so are you going to be even more broke now?
Boy,
so I'll jump so someone can come on. But yeah, thanks, Mash.
Yeah, big up Medvis for coming through, man. Yeah. Listen, there's so many people in the background. I should never have put that link in the chat. Now look what I have to do. I told you, I've got work to do. So, right, next person I'm bringing on. I'm going to bring on 1 second. I'm going to bring on Shaka. I know you can hear me. Shaka, when you come on, tell me if I'm pronouncing the name correctly. So for those who don't know Shaka, I got to know Shaka through Facebook. So there's a lot of good groups where you can actually kind of talk to some really rational West Indian fans. Shakar is one of them. So I'm going to bring him through as well to see what he made of today's latest terrible performance. 1 second, people. Yes, Shakar, can you hear me?
Hi, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, all good, all good.
Okay, I was driving home from work. I saw the link, so I just pull aside to get in. Finally.
What are you saying, Shakar? What did you make of today?
Here's the thing. For those who are still upset, maybe they won't know what I'm coming from or where I'm coming from. But when the dust settles and we rationalize this situation, we'll see that we can't take today's game in isolation. And maybe they'll think that I'm crazy to bring first-class cricket into this. But I'll tell you this. The fundamentals of the game are the same, regardless to the format we play in. And if we look at the common denominator across all the formats for West Indies, Test, One Day cricket, T20, the problem is the same. We don't have batsmen that could adapt. And for me, in my finite time looking and following West Indies cricket, that stems from the lack of cricket that we play. If you look at England and Australia, India, the top teams, one thing, forget the resources. We didn't have the resources back in the 80s when we were dominating either. And as much as the game has evolved, the fundamentals remain the same. And you look at a 25-year-old English player or an Australian player, and you look at the volume of cricket that they play at 25 compared to our guys. I think it was last night I saw a video where you and Santoki mentioned the cricket and the lack of cricket that we play. And I think that is playing a vital part of where we are in terms of batsmanship. One day cricket, T20s, the bowlers will go. That is just the game and how it's evolved. But I think the root cause is batsmanship and the lack of guys and their lack of applicability. So whether it's a turning wicket or a bouncing wicket, the problem remains we aren't equipped to adapt to that. And it really comes from a lack of cricket that these guys play overall.
So let me ask you something, Shakar. Based on the point you've just made there, and I agree with it. I agree with it completely. I think the video you're talking about is where we said Super 50s happening this year, and I think we're saying that we're glad that CCC and the academy side will be in it, but we just don't play enough cricket, right? And that shows in why. And there's a commonality between the lack of cricket we play and our inability to bat 50 overs. It's not two separate points.
Correct.
Completely. Yes. And that also, like you say, that links into T20. But here's my thing then. Does Phil go after this World Cup, yes or no?
I would say so. And it maybe it's not as much as his inability to coach, because he is a proven coach. He's had results with the same, I think it was Ireland that he coached before. But maybe sometimes just a change of environment is good for the players. And maybe, who knows? I mean, a lot of the issues that he is facing today, he has inherited. And maybe it might take somebody with a different approach. That might mean that Phil is not a good white ball coach. It might just mean that right now, his philosophy might be better suited, as you pointed out, to the test arena, as opposed to the environment in which the white ball players find themselves. And I mean, one key difference between both sides is the again, batsmanship. In the test team, whereas we have a more mature crowd in terms of I could reference Craig, Bonner, even Young De Silva. It's a different types of cricketer compared to the Puran and these guys that supremely talented, but they don't have the first class pedigree And I'm not talking about defensive cricket. I'm talking about being in a position where you can adapt from 20 for 5 or 250 for 5.
Listen, you're speaking facts. Pure facts. You see, people, this is why we do these lives. You lot didn't even, some of you will have known who Shaka was. If you didn't, now you know. Now you know that there are people out there speaking facts on West Indies cricket. And Shaka, I know you've made this point about Puran before. And I mean, I don't ever see him playing first class cricket. I don't ever see him really touching the red ball. But and actually, there are other last point, Shaka, because there's others who want to come on.
Right.
What do you make of Puran's form? What do you make of his decline in form? Do you think the captaincy is weighing heavy on his shoulders?
I think he looks distracted. I can't pinpoint why, but from what I've seen, he looks a little bit distracted. And even before they offered him the T20 captaincy, it was my hope that one day cricket captaincy would have gone to Shai Hope, who was being groomed in any event. And remember, Shai Hope plays well, he used to play all formats for West Indies, but he was in a better position career wise overall. I think it's just a matter of time before he's able to translate the dominance he's displayed at first class level to Test cricket. So in terms of his development, he's a little bit ahead of the curve, as opposed to Hitmaya and Puran. Puran, the least of them, because Puran doesn't have that first class pedigree. He doesn't have a frame of reference to fall upon when a bad stint hits. You look back at the past, and Brian Lara had X amount of first class runs before he got elevated to international cricket. Guys like Carl Hooper, Jimmy Adams. And so when they reached at the international level and they went through a bad spell, they could call upon this experience at the playing for Trinidad or Jamaica or Barbados. Nicholas Puran doesn't have that. He has under 19 cricket and he has T20 cricket. And there's not much experience you can get, regardless of how many leagues you play around the world, from playing T20 cricket. It's 120 balls per innings. So it begs the question, has Nicholas Puran ever batted more than 100 balls in any innings in any format of the game?
Listen, that's a really good question, you know. Someone find me the answer to that. When was the last time Nicholas Puran, if at all, batted more than 100 balls in an innings of cricket? When was the last time, people? I need that answer. Listen, Shaka, thank you so much. I'm going to bring some others on who are in the background. But now you've had the taste of Caribbean Cricket Podcast Live. I hope to see you back on here again, you know.
Of course, man. Yeah. Thanks.
All right, cool. See you soon, yeah?
Yeah, man.
I'm going to bring on Faraz, people, who's been patiently waiting in the background. Where is he? Faraz. Yes, Faraz, how you doing?
Yeah, good, mate. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. What's that shirt? Bangladesh? What's that?
Yeah, it's the One Day World Cup jersey.
Okay. So, so you were in the were you in the watch along this morning? You were, weren't you?
Oh yeah, I was actually just before I headed out. I was here till the rain delay.
Yeah, and you were saying that Scotland were going to win, and you were proved right. What did you make of the game today?
Look, this result didn't shock me at all. Like a lot of people have been telling me, "Oh, West Indies just cruise through the qualifiers," but I've been watching West Indies for the last 2 or 3 years. They just don't have that mongrel anymore. They're not that team that scares you anymore, despite having that that batting like they used to have with Gale, Simons, everything. But look, I don't know where to go from here for the West Indies. Like you can literally say, "Oh, like they were missing Hetmeyer, they were missing Gale, they're missing experience." But the truth is that no matter who you put in that West Indies team right now, whether it be Chris Gale, Kieran Pollard, Jackson Holder, it's not going to make a difference, is it?
I mean, but yeah, I mean, I think my take on it, I kind of tweeted something earlier about this. I've just always had this view that we, and by we I mean the West Indies, we were blessed to have a generation of players who were the best players in T20 for a certain period of time, primarily anywhere between 2010 to about 2016. You might even say 2017. So whether that be Gale, whether that be Bravo, whether that be Pollard, whether that be Dre Russ, whether that be Narine, whether that be Samuel Badri, even if you want to throw in a Marlon Samuels because of what he did in the 2 World Cup finals. Did I say Narine? I think I must have said Narine. We were blessed, and they all came at the exact same moment in time, right? I just feel that the decline is kind of like the similarity everybody always uses is. Are you a football fan, Faraz?
Yeah, I'll go for Arsenal in the Premier League.
So the similarity everybody always uses is Spain, right? In 2008, 2010, 2012, Spain won 2 European Championships and a World Cup back to back, right? And then they tried to go for one last dance in the 2014 World Cup, and it all went wrong. They tried to bring the exact same players that had won the 3 in a row. It all went wrong. And that Spain team was just generational talent all at the same time, right? Spain are still yet to recover from that. They're all right now, but they've yet to recover and get back to that level they are. And this is where this is now coming full circle to your point. We do not have the players. This is my personal belief. We do not have the players to replicate what our former greats did. And I'd arguably say, and I'll throw this to the people in the chat as well, who is our genuinely good T20 player in our current side? And when I say good, I mean bona fide, legit match winner.
It's not much to really go for from that lineup. You'd probably say Jackson Holder, but even him for himself, he hasn't been in the greatest of form lately, especially with the ball. But yeah, there isn't any certified match winner. Like, we all thought Purin was the next big thing for West Indies cricket the last 3 years, but he's done absolutely nothing at all. He can't last more than 50, 60 balls in innings. Like, his shot selection is beyond crazy. He does not play the match situation well, whether it be in one-day cricket or T20 cricket. They just don't have a mindset there.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say possible. I was going to throw in random Akil Hussain, but I wouldn't even say he's a match winner. He just keeps things tight. He's not going to. Yeah, go on. Sorry. He's
someone that like controls the run rate, but he isn't like the guy that takes you 5 wickets every game and all that sort of stuff. He's still like finding himself on the big stage right now.
Yeah. And I mean, fundamentally, don't get me wrong. I mean, let's be fair. Whilst I'm not saying they're a good side, they have enough talent in there to be better than they currently are. And I think that's possibly what was most upsetting about today's performance and potentially what happens in the next 2 versus Zimbabwe and Ireland. You still have to be, however weak you are, there is no excuse for the quality in that side to underperform so badly. And this is where I agree with you. Where is it a mindset? Is it a psychological thing? Because they shouldn't be that bad.
And don't forget, West Indies, they set the platform as well. They were 55 after 5 overs. They were on track. I think they were well above the run rate needed or something. 8. They were 10 runs in an over. They lost only 1 wicket. So they had the platform there. It's just that they don't take control of it. Like any other West Indies team on that day should have chased it down in 40, 15 overs. Now it's just, as soon as they lose 1 wicket, it's like the whole team falls down. It's like when Bangladesh before, like when Tamim used to get out, the whole lineup would just fall apart.
Yeah. The collapse was ridiculous. I think it was 7. Was it 7 wickets?
7 for 20.
7 wickets for, 7 for like 27 or something stupid like that. And that's what I'm saying. Mindset has to come into it. And I think I said it earlier on. Someone out of those top 7 or 8 batters just had to dig in. Just dig in and show the. I mean, Holder tried his best.
And I made this point in your comment section that Namibia, when they played Sri Lanka a few days ago, they were 96 for 6 or something after 16 overs. Freilich or J.S. Smith, whoever it was, they started slow, but they dug in and they added 30 runs in the last 3. They got to a score of 160, and that proved 2 par for Sri Lanka in the end. So it shows that even at 97 for 6, when the pressure's down, it just takes 1 good innings to change the whole momentum of a game.
100%. Listen, Faraz, thanks for coming on. There's 3 more people waiting, and then I'm going to call it a close. So thank you for coming on, Faraz. I'll try and do this again. When we lose to Zimbabwe, I'll do another one, and then you can come on after.
I've been feeling your pain when we lost to Scotland last year. I'm with you, brother.
Listen, I'll see you soon, yeah?
Cheers, man.
All right, no worries. Later.
And take care.
Sheldon, I'm bringing you on. I don't know if you're there. I can't see your face, which is fine, but I'm sure you can hear the audio. Sheldon, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good
Yes,
afternoon.
Sheldon. How you doing? Sheldon, you're based in what? Trinidad?
Yes,
Yes, Trinidad and
yes, I am.
Tobago representing. What do you have to say about that performance today, Sheldon?
Disappointing, but expected. Right? Because
Go on.
people didn't realize that here's what Scotland is a good team. For instance, right? Munzie has a first class average of 56.
Yes.
Right? And a T20 average, he scored almost as much runs as Puran. In 51 games and Puran in 63 games. He has a T20 average of 27 point something. He would have played county cricket and all these things, so these fellas could bat. Do you see, for instance, the shots that those guys was playing in the first few overs? Those were classic cricket shots. We not playing those kinds of shots, right? Now, I was depending on King to do a lot of the batting, because I know a lot of the middle order depends on King. That's why I had him at number 3, right? I seen either Mears or Lewis will give me a good start. I do expect both of them to perform at the same time. I'm hoping that one of them perform, right? And then King will hold the middle order together, and we get some 20s and 30s from the other players. Because if you have one player that scores like a 60 or 70 runs, all you need is a 20, 30s from about 2-3 more players at a good rate, and you're up to 160, 170. But unfortunately, we didn't do that today. I don't know if it's because the rainfall, because I know the Scotland captain came out with his Duckworth Lewis Sten paper, and he was consulting it every balls. So I don't know if that threw us off, because we were, looking at the weather and trying to make as many runs just in case the rain come. I don't know if that was a factor. That may have been a factor that weighed on the mind, because we were up with the run rate. Now, I listened to the Simmons interview, and they asked Simmons, what did he tell the players, because they noticed he came out during a drinks break. He said, I told them we had players in the shed maintain wickets until the 15th over, and then launch. Nobody listened to the man. Them fellas still swing for the hills.
Yes, Sheldon. Now, Sheldon, I'll just jump in there. I heard that interview, and I noted that comment as well when Phil said that. And again, I'm not excusing Phil, but again, it just begs the question to me: what's wrong with these players? What's wrong with these players? If the head coach comes out at a drinks break and says, listen, Odine's still to come, Akil's still to come, Joseph's still to come, we can still win this, just take it deep. And then the next shot, someone gets out to a big shot. I don't know how we help these players. I don't know what we do. I don't know whether that suggests, therefore, that no one's really listening to Phil anymore or not. I don't know. But the point is, we see these players do this repeatedly. So at what point how do we change their mindset?
All right. Phil seemed to be too soft with the players. He trying to father them and take them along. Gentlemen, this is what we need to do. You need to repeat this and let it become a habit and that kind of thing. We are West Indians. We grew up in a different mentality that may work in Ireland it might work somewhere else. But we need a big stick attitude.
So what? He must tell them
Phil
to
might
fetch the belt.
Yeah, Phil might literally have to use some obscene language or throw hands or something, cuff down a few men or them kind of thing. That men know hey, all going on. Yeah, boy, it's on. We serious. You know?
So now I see. So what we need to do now is start drapesing up the players because nothing else is working.
Yeah, because and we also need to understand that we have a relatively inexperienced side. People looking at Scotland, but a lot of Scotland top players. This might be the third World Cup because Monzi and all of them playing since 2015. They were at the 2016 World Cup. They was at the last World Cup, and they are this World Cup again. So there's them fellas third World Cup, right?
Yeah.
And we have players that representing the West Indies at this World Cup that start playing T20 in January.
Good point. That's a good point. In fairness, yeah.
So I mean, they do have the experience. They might have the talent. They don't have the experience as a presenter just say they haven't played any white ball cricket. I mean red ball cricket, and therefore they don't have that kind of experience to absorb pressure and then rotate, strike, look for gaps, them kind of thing. They don't have that kind of experience. So they will struggle, right? And it have a lot of, to me, West Indies need to block out some of the outside noise, turn off all the social media, don't hear nobody, and just, hey, here's what. Listen to what going on within the thing. Coach, man, there's this, hey, fellas, there's what we're going with, and do that, and I think they'll perform much better. Because
well, let's hope
we
they weren't
can
listening to this because we just said that Phil must fetch the belt. So they best not be listening to this one, you know.
You understand? Boy, I don't know. Because we should be beating those sides, or we could be beating those sides. But again, on any day, we could either win or lose, and we're not sure what is going to happen on that day. Right?
Listen, Sheldon, there's a couple more people who need to come on before
yes,
I go.
Go ahead.
Thanks
for having me.
Just before you go, last thing. Zimbabwe on Wednesday. Are we going to win or not?
We're going to win.
I've got confidence now. I've got confidence.
Right.
Thank you, Sheldon.
Right. But I want to make two changes. I want to bring in Rifa for Brooks because Brooks seem out as depth, not doing anything. Right. I want to bring in Rifa, give myself a other bowling option, and I want to bring in Cottrell for McCoy. It's not that McCoy doing badly, but I'm hoping that Cottrell take a couple wickets up front and give me some give the rest of the team some confidence, because I always remember the 2012 World Cup when we were trying to defend 137 and Ravi Rampal in the final bowled Dilshan with a beauty, and after that them men get so much confidence, we defend that total and we lift that World Cup.
So there it is.
So
people.
all it takes is one champion moment. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you, Sheldon.
Right.
I'll see you soon, yeah? No problem. Thank you. Who's next? Gio. I've got Gio, Twilly, and then Neeks to end it all, people. And then I am going to go and actually plan my lesson for tomorrow. You lot got me out here. It's 10 o'clock, you know. I got school tomorrow, people. 3 more people. Let's go. Gio, what are you saying?
Hey, Machel, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good.
Yeah. I was watching. Thanks for having me. I was watching your watch along, and I was watching the game. And then from once Scotland got off that start of, I think they were like 50 something without loss before the rain. I was like, you know what? It's like midnight. I gotta go to work tomorrow. I had a feeling that we're gonna lose. Yeah, I was like, oh my God, but I don't even know what to say. I was just thinking about like West Indies. And then the funny part about it, I was like, if you really look at CPL, right? Like
Mm,
all countries, all nations, they got upcoming talent. Like India, I know they got Shubman Gill and stuff
mm.
like that, right? England, they got like Alex Sales and younger players. Like in the CPL next year or next 2 years, what young West Indian player is coming up to play? If you really think about it, it's like there's no
Actually,
constant
that's a
replacement.
very good point. Actually, that's a very good point. Um, the fact does Dominic Drake's count? I mean, the fact I can't give you a name immediately, I think indicates that you have a point there. But do you know what I would say in response to that, Gio? And it was something I was thinking about whilst we were tumbling to defeat today. As the match was going on, I was thinking, and to think I wasted all that time watching CPL, because CPL is supposed to be our flagship tournament that gets us ready for like major competitions. So we had it just before these T20 World Cup qualifiers. You have everybody from the different nations back in their particular territory, so on and so forth, right? And let's call it as it actually was. That Jamaica team that actually won and I'm a Talawas fan,
I'm a
but that
Talbot fan
Jamaica
too.
team
I'm
that
from
won
Jamaica.
CPL, they weren't even that good. So maybe in some senses, if you look at it in the CPL context, you had a Jamaica side that only won 4 games in out of 10 in the main stage, who then got through to the knockout stages and won CPL. Now, maybe that in a nutshell says a lot, that actually is our domestic tournament substandard.
I think it has become substances. I don't think it was before. And also remember, I think the only reason why Barbados didn't win was because they lost all their players.
Hmm.
Because remember they lost Miller, Quinton
Yeah,
de
the
Kock,
cock.
and they
Yeah.
lost all their South African players. And then the irony part about it, I've been looking at CPL, right? And then the run getters are normally the holdies, right? It's normally like a Lindell Simmons or Johnson Charles, right? And then the wicket takers, it's rarely Caribbean players. It's mostly the Pakistani players and
Mm.
mostly the spinners from Guyana. It's like, where is that new or the young upcoming West Indian, like middle order batsman? And this was when somebody was saying about franchises keep on picking our players. It's because remember you had said a couple months ago, like when these players go to franchise, they're normally coming at 4, 5, 6. Rarely they
Mm.
open. So these players are just used to playing shots. They're not used to playing no other type of cricket. They're just 6 and out, 6 and out, 6 and out. And T20 have evolved so much. And it brings me back to your point that you said. It's like that West Indies, I feel like we're just at a period of point when, remember, West Indies, we dominated Test cricket. We didn't lose. Then we
Mm.
didn't become good again, right? Then we dominated white ball cricket, won 2 ODI World Cup. Then we just became garbage. We won T20 World Cup. Now we're just like falling off. It's like the irony part about it is like we had good teams, but we never sustain it. It's like all of our good players, they just come together at one point. Then we just dominate for like 5, 6 years. And then we just fall off and rebuild again. I guess we just gotta wait for a new format to come. So just be good at that format and just fall off again.
So what? T10 for life is what we're saying now. That's what we're on right now. Forget T20. Let's move to T10, people. Let's go dominate that one.
Might as well, but the other thing that the gentleman that was in the car that was saying, which I totally agree with you, is because like if you look at all these good T20 players, except probably like Tim David, but everybody normally plays really good first class cricket,
Mm.
and a lot of these players, even players from all over, they got the good foundations. They got for good foundation. And I proud about it. I was following some of the game because I was at work and I was just strolling around looking at ESPN Cricket Info. And I see a lot of the guys that play the under 19 World Cup, right? For example, I see some Australians, they're playing in their domestic game. The under 19 players, they're playing Sheffield Shield. A lot of the English players, they play county cricket. A lot of the Pakistanis players, they're playing their regular game. They're playing their 4-day game, right? So it's probably like 1 or 2 West Indian players young players that actually play like 1 or 2 games in a regular 4-day team, because I think that it goes back to what Santoki has been saying. I think that West Indies, we're so concerned about winning the competition instead of developing the players. Because, say, for example, like when Jamaica team was dominating 4-day cricket, we never developed the youngsters. We just continue to just win, win, win. Same thing with Barbados. They sometimes bring young players, but they're just trying to win. They're just trying to win. They don't care if somebody's like, okay, all these players are like 30-year-old and we're going to win with them. The same thing you were talking about with the Trinidad team, which I don't want them to bring back all their oldies, because what's the point? Like a Robinson, like a Keegan Simmons and all those players, they're not going to play the Super 50. They're just going to go with the old team again and just dominate again. What's the point, you know? And then like a lot of players, it's like, to me, this goes back when we first had the T20 or whatever. I've been saying this, like during the IPL, West Indies, we should have our own 4-day game, which is just all the players that not play the IPL, play a 50-over game and a T20 game. So we can at least get our young players game time. Because when it comes to Super 50, all these countries, they just want to win. They're not going to give young players a chance. They just want to win, win.
Let me just jump in there, Gio, and I'm going to have to bring on Twilly next. So I'll wrap it up with this. What I would say is, and this is where the complexities, and this is another point about West Indies cricket and West Indies development. Whatever you want to call our top players, let's just say top white ball players, here is the biggest issue of them all. So if you look at our current T20 team that played today, right? So just calling them off the top of my head: Mayers, Lewis, King, maybe Brooks actually. So I'll go again: Mayers, Lewis, King, Puran, Powell, right? That's 5 of the top 6. Our first class season this year goes from February till May. None of them will play 1 over of red ball cricket this year. That's just an example. And the reason why I know they won't is because there will be T20 tournaments going on, whether it be IPL or whether it be other T20 tournaments. Maybe Brandon King at a push might play some red ball cricket. So I don't see how any of this fundamentally changes, because too many of them have white ball franchise contracts, which of course we can't say no to, like they have to earn a living. But this idea of them ever really honing their skill set in red ball cricket, it's just never going to happen. And I think West Indies are unique in that sense, in that our players don't play red ball cricket. So somehow we have a set of players who exclusively play white ball cricket for the West Indies and basically will never play red ball cricket again. So I don't know how we immediately fix these problems.
Yep.
But Gio,
I agree with you.
we could go on, but I do want to bring on the final 2 to go.
Okay, thanks for having me.
Neeks is in the background. Neeks, I'm not going to bring you on. I'm just going to ask you to do me. Thank you, Gio. Sorry, by the way. Neeks, I'm not going to bring you on just yet. Twilly's ahead of you, but Neeks, you've still got administrator rights, have you? If you have, can you block that porn person on the? Can you block the porn bot on the chat? Anyways, Twilly, I'm bringing you on, man, and then Neeks is going to end it all off, people. Thank you, by the way, to everyone who's been in the live. We at one point, I think we're on like 160 odd or something. If you're still here, all 120 something of you, do press like, subscribe before you go, particularly if you're brand new to listen to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. Yeah, Twilly, let me bring you on and let me go. Yes, Twilly, how you doing?
Yes, sir. How are you, man?
I'm good, thank you. Twilly, I've never seen you before, heard you, seen your name. Tell the people where you're from.
Well, I am a Jamaican living in Canada, London, Ontario.
Okay. Big up Jamaica, big up Canada. So, Twilly,
yes,
tell me you didn't watch that match today.
Man, I cook my Sunday dinner and shower and stay up all night. I am furious, man. I was watching the game and listening to you on the first half of the match, man, and I was up all night. My wife get up to go to work and saw me on the couch. Well, I'm telling you, it's crazy, but I just want to say a couple of things. Like, what is our issue with running? Like,
Well, we can't do it is one thing.
I think that's our major problem right now, because if you look at it, if we get one boundary in each over and we run 2 single, 2 double, we get 9 runs.
Yeah.
And then we going at 9 runs a over. We maybe get 8 or 7 somewhere along the line, and we're good. But there is no player that out last night that I see hold to a good delivery. They pretty much give Scotland the game.
100%. 100%.
So it's madness, man. It's mind-boggling to me. And I am like one of those people who always follow West Indies, win or lose. And like sometimes we don't have nobody to talk to. Like me in Canada here, like,
I feel you. I feel the pain.
yeah, man. So I always watch your show though, but sometimes it's my first time actually coming into the chat. So that's why you probably never see me before or anything like that. But I always watch the show or watch the replay or something.
Respect you every time, but let me unpick that comment you said though. What do you think it is about though? Because Phil Simmons is a world-renowned coach. He must be telling them to run. But we've been watching West Indies be like this in white ball cricket for the longest while now. Like, and as you say, today's game, when Lewis got out. So when Lewis got out, I think it was like 55 for 2. What you're describing is all they needed to do. Just run. They could have gone at 6 runs and over for the next 3 to 4 to 5 overs, rebuild the foundation and rebuild the base before trying to go for big shots again. What do you think it is? Why do you think they don't do it?
Well, with me now, the point that I get with them, I think they're just lazy.
Okay.
They're just lazy because if you're doing this as your job, you don't do anything else. This is what you do to feed yourself and your family. Tell me now, you don't go back to your territories and practice these things. We've been talking about these things for years. So it's just come like common sense now. So why you don't set up your training session where you hit the gap? Australia have some big pitches. You don't need to hit boundary. Like you could do it off of singles, 3s, 2s, and you still get there comfortable. But for some reason, I don't know what is the problem with these guys. Ravman Paul come first ball, he hike one. He get lucky, he drop in the space. Then after the drinks break, he go back for the same shot. Like, you're not that one apart, man. You can't clear that boundary like that. Like, man, I'm telling you, man, these guys are crazy. Evan Lewis, same shots. The fielder don't have to move. Like, man, I'm telling you, all the guys that vote last night, bat up and catch, or they go for a big swipe, Hooran and King. King is so disappointing, man. Like, what are you doing, King? Man, I don't know, man. Like, these guys are crazy. I think like Filthy Man needs to start throw some chairs or tables or something. Don't try to be like. I'm telling you, man. Like, you can't be these guys' friend. You gotta let them know, man. When we're working, we're working. We're not friend right now. Like, start pour some glue or something, man. Let them see that. Like, I don't see that from Filthy Man. He's too nice. You can't be like a Christian. You're dealing with Caribbean people. We don't deal with nice. Like,
no Christianity, yeah? None.
No, like you gotta start do some verbal expression where, you know, like they understand, like, this guy is a madman or something. Like, you gotta do something, man. Like, you gotta inspire them. Like, let them know, like, we're not here to joke, man. Like, we gotta respect Scotland, but Scotland gotta respect us. We are the West Indies. We're like the Kobe Bryant of basketball. We come here to win. So if we gotta show you respect, you gotta show us respect. Like, why are we hoping in the bowling with Kyle Mayers? There is no swing in Australia, man. Where is the swing?
So do you know what? If I understood why they started him just with one, just to see. I didn't understand why they gave him the second after that. And then actually, nobody's mentioned it today, but there were some question marks about Pooran's captaincy today because Holder didn't bowl out, right?
No.
Holder bowled 3, McCoy bowled 3, and then he gave the death over to
O'Dean Smith.
O'Dean Smith. And when I saw O'Dean get the death over, I thought, huh? What? The same O'Dean Smith that just got licked down in CPL was getting the death over in the World Cup. And listen, I don't like coming after Nicholas Pooran because he's young. I don't think he's getting much help on the field from anybody. But there's some tactical decisions he makes where I can't rationalize them. I can't work it out. And it's just as well because anyways, the 160 still should have been enough for West Indies to chase. So I can't, as much as I say all this, 160 was fine to chase. So the batting was still the issue, but there is an elephant in the room about Pooran's captaincy. I think Pooran, the same way how I'm saying that I think Phil will step away from the white ball side or be told to step away from it, I don't see Pooran being captain of the West Indies after the ODI World Cup qualifiers when we don't make the World Cup in them either. I don't see Pooran captaining the side much longer because why would he want to? Why would he bring this stress on his life?
Yeah, I think it's just too much for Pooran, and he's getting confused because like most of those guys are older than Pooran that playing. So like Pooran is not really like a mentor to those guys. Like you need one of those older guy from before to stay in the team just to support the guys them and get advice. Like you can't get rid of all of those guys. You can't listen to all of the noise that people are making. People are always gonna want this guy and this guy. But at the end of the day, some of the stuff them that West Indies is not doing right is just basic common sense stuff. Like you can't tell me you're batting 20 over and you facing 52 dot ball. That's almost 10 over, you know. So when you break that down, let's say you run 20 single and you run 5 twos, you're so much closer that bring you to 60 to 160. And then it's like, why these guys keep doing this over and over and over and you're not seeing no form of improvement? Who's the one playing the role to rotate the strike? Don't play a big shot. You're gonna bat 20 over, don't play a big shot. If it's like pretty much don't take a 4 or a 6, those singles. You have to have 2 guys in the sides that doing that. There is nobody doing that. Everybody doing the same thing. Look at Brooks last night. What is that? It's unbelievable, man.
And the thing is, Brooks is supposed to be the one he's supposed to be the one rotating the strike, and he was playing some dunce cricket as well. So I maybe they all just started panicking and couldn't get themselves out of like the spiral that they were in. But listen, Twilly, before I bring Neeks on to end, I'll tell you this last point though, which is quite interesting. I think it was episode 71 or 72 of the podcast. We had Graham West on, who's the performance manager. He's head of West Indies Academy. And he made a really good point on there, which I've been thinking about ever since he said it. He said part of the problem for West Indian players is the tracks in the Caribbean are so bad that he says that when you are training to hit, to beat, like find the gaps or hit ones and hit twos, he said, now, obviously, he's head of the academy, so I presume his authority is good here. He says that what a West Indian player thinks is a 1, when they get into international cricket, it's a dot ball. So he was talking about how the pitches aren't equipped in the Caribbean to help them develop their technique to know how to find the gaps because the pitches don't equate with what they then experience in international cricket. So his argument was that they learn to find the gaps whilst they're learning on the job in international cricket because they don't have the facilities to. Now, I don't know. I'm not saying that that's complete facts. I can only just repeat what he said. So I do wonder how much the facilities or lack thereof hinder these players. But then the counter to it is most of these players are playing franchise cricket all around the world. So what are they doing? what are they doing with their time? Are they only learning how to lash? Is that all?
That's all, man. And the next thing, man, like if you look at it, the bowling is not bad right now, but you have to have a plan up front. Like your first 6 over. Like you can't start 3 games with Kyle Mayers in Australia and Kyle Mayer bowl the first over and it's not working and you continue with it. It don't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's all, man. Thank you for having me. Eh?
No problem, Twilly. Listen, I didn't know this live was going to be so successful, man. So, like I say, when we lose to Zimbabwe, come through for that one as well, yeah?
All right, man. Appreciate
All right,
it.
then, cool. I'll see
Yeah.
you soon.
Okay.
No worries. Right, Neeks, you have the distinction of being the final person on the live today, people. Neeks Sports people. If you don't know Neeks Sport, Neeks Sport, make sure you go follow him on YouTube as well. Let me bring Neeks through. Yes, Neeks, what are you saying?
Yes, Machel. Long time coming. This has been long time coming.
We've been saying this should have been happening for so long. I don't know how it's taken so long.
But we can unite over West Indies despair, in it. That's what everyone can unite over. Listen, there's so much to dissect. Obviously, I know you ain't got much time. It's funny because every time you do a video, you always say, this ain't going to be a long one, guys. And then it's about an hour. But we love it. When you say it's not going to be a long one, I'm like, no, Machel. Listen, we need an hour. Hour minimum. Minimum. But I know how much hard work it goes into it. But listen, it's funny because the last
hold on, Neeks. Everyone in the chat is saying Neeks from Football Terrace. What's that?
Yeah, I'm on the Football Terrace. I'm on Derby.
Okay, people know Neeks. It's all good. Everyone knows Neeks already.
I've been in the game for a while still. But listen, yeah, let's come to West Indies. And you mentioned it right at the end because I didn't listen to the whole show, but I hadn't heard anyone really talking about the captaincy and let's say the field, the bowling, so to speak. I'm not even blaming the bowlers per se, but first and foremost, we have Mayers bowling 2 overs at the top, 24 runs. Listen, the match started at 5 a.m. I'm not waking up at 5 a.m. to watch West Indies. I've done it enough. I'm not doing it. So I wake up when I wake up and I turn on when I turn on. So I turn on about 15 overs in. So I didn't see the madness that happened before initially. But you open with Kyle Mayers 2 overs. Jason Holder doesn't bowl out his allocation. And Odin Smith bowls the last over when you've got Obed McCoy. What's Obed McCoy's role if it's not to bowl the death overs? I'm like, this don't make sense. Like, so the 160, yes, the 160 is a chaseable total, especially against Scotland. But if we're conceding 160 against Scotland, what hope do we have for the rest of the tournament? Because by rights, Scotland should be the easiest game for the whole tournament in this group, as well as if we do make it to the group stages. So if you're conceding 160, you might as well go home. You might as well go home because you got no chance. So first and foremost, I see that. And I commented on your preview video for this, I think it was the Scotland game, or maybe just the World Cup in general, when we're talking about the team. And I was advocating for going with Cottrell instead of Brooks. Because for me, if you're relying, especially in the qualifiers, if you're relying on 7, 8, 9, and 10 to get you to either a fight in total or to win a game against Scotland, Ireland, and Zimbabwe, you're not hiding to nothing. Because that means you're saying 1 to 6 can't bat. Alzari, we need you. Akil, we need you. Obed, hold up at end while Odin finishes off. Like, you need to go out there and say, we're going to attack you with the bowlers. We're going to bowl you out for 100 and a little bit. If we can get you for under 100, so be it. So you play your best bowlers. You play Cottrell because you know he's usually going to get a wicket or 2 in the power play, which is so important. You play obviously Obed because you need someone at the death as well. Alzari's already there. Jason Holder's always there. And Kyle Mayers is there if you need a few over. Like playing batsmen like Brooks, for example. And I like Brooks more so as a test than an ODI batsman more than a T20. But bowlers win games. In any form of cricket, bowlers win games. But too long for West Indies. We put so much emphasis, but also like kind of we give too much leeway to the batsman. We lose a game, a bowler gets dropped to bring in. I wouldn't be surprised if we go bring in another batsman to say, if we couldn't chase 160, so we need an extra batsman. No, let's chase 130. Let's chase 120. There's a lot of issues starting from the top right through before we even get to the batting itself. So I think Poor's captaincy, as you said, that was a big issue. We should never be chasing 160 against Scotland. when it comes to the batting now, and this is just a running theme for West Indies. I'm 31 years old, so the last time I see West Indies bat well, I don't even remember. Like, I'm talking about consistently bat well. The first series I ever remember West Indies play was in about, I think it was 2001 or 2000 when we came to England, and we're getting bowled out for 54 and 61. That's in Test cricket.
Yeah.
So I've just grown up with West Indies who can't bat, and it doesn't mean we ain't had good batsmen. It doesn't mean we ain't had good periods of batting and in different forms of the game. But a lot of it is without sense. 160 against Scotland is not the worst score to chase. And in T20, you know you've got time and you've got the players to be able to score runs late in the innings. Why can't you nudge it around? There's no assessment of the ground that you're playing at, the pitch, the bowlers, the situation. The pitches, the grounds in Australia are big, and we're trying to hit every ball out of the park. Play it on the ground, you get 2. Play it on the ground, you get 1. When the bad ball comes, because the bad ball will come, then you get your 4, then you get your 6. But it's like they're trying to win the game in 10 overs every single time. It's not even just the Scotland game. So it's like, where do we go from here? I don't know, because the batsmen are one game. I wouldn't be surprised if we beat Zimbabwe, but I don't have confidence we're going to do it. But that's West Indies for you. We can beat Zimbabwe, and then we end up losing to Ireland and going out anyway. Like that. But yeah, I think for me, we're going forward. Cottrell has to come in first and foremost. I'm bringing in Cottrell for Brooks, and I'm putting the onus on the batsman. It's your job to get the runs. It's not 7, 8, 9, and 10. It's your job. 1, 2, 3. Pollard, I like Pollard. It's funny because I thought Pollard was a problem. I thought you get rid of Pollard, everything's fixed, right? Captaincy fixed, no more egos, everything's sorted. No more politics. Get rid of Pollard, everything's sorted. But we know the issue's deeper. And I know that a lot of the fans, especially the Caribbean Cricket podcast, they know that the issue's deeper. It's about time that a lot of the others involved in West Indies know that it's deeper. But I think we have to strengthen the batting, and we put that pressure on the batsman to say, do your job. Each individual, do your job. And if you don't do your job, you're gonna get found out. Because the worst thing that could have happened today, and of course, we want the result, is that Alzari and Odin and Akil win the game because they let one off the hook. And we can't do that. We can't let them off the hook. It's embarrassing, man. It's embarrassing.
What you've called for was the other argument I used in that video, which is everyone knows Sheldon strikes in the power play. Minimum 1 wicket in the power play, right? Everyone knows that. Usually in the first over. Now, I think the point I made is that if you drop a batter for Cottrell, you're basically asking Jason Holder to bat at 6, Odin or Akil at 7, depending on the situation, and then obviously the other one at 8. Now, my argument was the 5 batters you're picking should be able to do the job anyway, so that having Holder, Odin, and Akil at 6, 7, or 8 is a good insurance policy. It was so when I saw the side, although that was the side I thought that would be picked, I thought it was a negative selection because it implied that we're gonna need that extra batter just in case. And even then, everyone just still played dunce cricket anyway. Probably because they thought, well, we've got this person to come. Well, we also got this person to come, so we'll find a way. And they got found out for it. Listen, the next game is a must-win. So I see your argument that if it's must-win, go with the attitude that you need wickets to must-win, not that you need batters to. Because people say,
look at the way the batsmen got out. Swinging across the line, hitting it straight to the fielders. Like it's so amateurish that an extra batsman doesn't fix that. Bring an extra batsman on, because if everyone got the same mentality, why do you expect that? Who you bringing in? Which batsman are you bringing? You ain't bringing back Pete Gale or Pete Russell or Pete. Whoever you're bringing in, they're coming with a very similar mentality or ability to strike the ball, to nudge a nerd or whatever it might be. The batsmen that played today are our best, and they weren't good enough today. So get one of them and get in another bowler, because they couldn't have done any worse with the bat. They could. Well,
Yeah.
if Holder comes up one position earlier, all hell's gonna break loose. All hell broke loose already. So
Yep.
what difference is gonna make? You're right. We've grown up with West. At one point, it was bad. We used to play like 2 specialist bowlers and then bare dibbly dobblers. I remember it was Ian Bradshaw.
Yeah, I knew it was that era. As soon as you said it, I was like, it's that era.
But I'm not even cussing Ian Bradshaw, but he was like the strike bowler, and there was like one other, and then
Probably Corey Collymore, Bradshaw and Collymore.
And then bare medium pacers because they can bat. But if
Yeah.
you're relying on 8, 9, and 10 to take you home, you're not getting home. Start the car, as Bumble would say. It's like, you're not getting home. So yeah, it's too negative in terms of selection, because it doesn't give the responsibility on the batsman where it should be. But then it's the batsmen need to bat with sense. I don't know if they think that they're being positive and they're trying to play up to their brand, maybe as individuals, or the brand of West Indies historically, that we're all about 4s and 6s. But the reality is we've changed. We're not that team anymore. These players we've got players who can hit. Lewis can hit, Mayers, of course, Rovman, Poran, they all can hit. But the game is so much more now than just about hitting the ball out of the park. We see how the likes of England, they can get the 1s and 2s. They don't miss out on an opportunity of getting a 1 and 2 when they got Butler and Bairstow. And then they also hit, and that's how you maximize. We're just one-trick ponies, crash, bang, wallop, and a lot of times it's just crash, wickets tumbling. So yeah, listen.
Do you know what it is though?
If we go out, what do you think?
Something you just said made me think this. We have no leader in the side, and I don't mean that as simple as a captain. We just have no actual. When you look at that side today, who's the person where you say they're going to take this game by the scruff of the neck, and through sheer will they're going to try take us over the line? I don't see that. I don't see that in this side. I haven't seen it in the longest while.
Yeah, because I think obviously Holder was the ex-captain, but I never felt he was a great lead. Like he wasn't a great captain, maybe tactically, but I think he's got leadership qualities about him. But I don't know if is it a case of it when things are bad, is he the one to turn to? I don't know. I remember when we played England in the Caribbean, he was doing it a few times, and he talks a lot on the field and he does G the people up. But that's why when we lost Pollard before this World Cup, I was so disappointed, because his averages and all that kind of stuff is not where it used to be. But just on the leadership element, I remember watching a CPL game and Hetmeyer was on the other side, and you see Pollard kind of little jabs at him to try and toughen him up. And we don't really see that when it comes to West Indies, but I could see that Pollard's mind was in a different place. And of course, the interview that you lot did on here, you see where he's coming from. And it's that experience, and maybe even the loss of Pollard had an impact in and of itself, because I don't know if they were thinking that he was going to go. I don't know. I was surprised when it happened. And Poran don't look like he's ready, or I don't know if he will be ready to take that mantelpiece. But we're here now. Like, because the squad is done. The squad is here. We have to make do what we got. And I just think your aim, especially in these qualifiers, you should be looking to bowl out the team.
Yeah.
You should be looking to bowl out the opposition within 20 overs, and you do that by picking your best bowlers. And so you have 6 batsmen, 5 bowlers, and that's how you do it. 7 batsmen, 8 batsmen, 9 batsmen. That ain't winning you nothing.
So I got 2 questions for you then to end off this live. Question 1: do you think we're getting? Let me not even jump that far ahead. Do you think we're beating Zimbabwe?
Boy, I don't know. I'm gonna say yes, and honestly, the only reason I'm saying yes, because I need to give myself motivation to actually watch the game. So if I think we're gonna lose it already, am I gonna? I don't know what time is it on. I don't even know what time it's coming. When it comes
9 o'clock.
But
9 o'clock UK time. So we got no excuse.
Okay.
Yeah, we got no excuse. We have to watch it.
Yeah, damn it. I'm gonna have to watch that still. I'm gonna say yes. It don't mean we're qualifying, but I'm gonna say yes. Let's beat Zimbabwe. We must can get one win that means something in this tournament.
Listen, I'm not brave enough to say whether we can win or whether we can't win. And then my final question for you, irrespective of what happens in this tournament, would you move Phil Simmons on?
I would. I don't like the blame culture of individuals when it comes to fans of West Indies cricket. We're very quick to pinpoint individuals. This person's fault, that person's fault, get rid of that person. I don't think getting rid of Simmons fixes our problems, but I think a change is needed. It's about, okay, it's not working. And I'm not saying he done a bad job, because we know the systems are run deeper than just who's the coach, but a change is needed, and maybe a change is needed in different areas. But I think that change is needed. I wouldn't get rid of him completely, keep him as the Red Bull coach. But maybe even the fact that there's so many issues with West Indies cricket as a whole, to have one coach for Red Bull and White Bull is a lot. It's a lot to deal with, different players, and therefore different personalities, etc. There's a lot to deal with. So for that alone, and of course the results of the past White Ball tournaments haven't been good, I would move him on from White Ball. I don't know who you want to get in, but move him on and just go for a change. Try something different. You see how England brought in Brendan McCullum for the test, and there was just an instant change. I don't think a lot of those England players are great batsmen or a great team, but something different, maybe just playing to their strengths. It's not traditional when it comes to test cricket, but it just injected something different into the team. And I think this team needs something changing in the coaching department. So I would move him on. Regardless of the result, but if we go all the way and win it, I'll probably still move him on, because I think it's too much to do red and white ball in the current state of West Indies cricket.
Yeah, and I think the final thing I would just add to that is, in all this cricket that West Indies have been playing, the one thing that people have forgotten, this is, again, it's not an excuse for it's just facts. Whenever we go from red to white to this tour to that tour, the coach doesn't change. The players might, but Phil's just been going from tour to tour to tour to tour to series to series to series to series. And this is why I was advocating it's time for him to just get a rest from it all. It's too much. I just feel like, and I'm sure he's sensing it, that whatever he's saying, it's not getting through.
Yeah, it's anymore. A new voice that's needed, a new voice.
Yeah.
And the reality is the COVID, you got back-to-back World Cups. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And he ain't getting younger.
Yeah. And as much as you said Brendan McCullum, though, I just want to say to people, we can't get that equivalent because, one, we can't afford it. And two, if Brendan McCullum or somebody like him ever came to the Caribbean to coach West Indies, they'd take one look at the foolishness with regards to facilities and say they're not doing it anymore. So I think people just need to be mindful of the fact that whoever we get has to work within the parameters of what West Indies cricket actually is and what those restrictions actually are, But listen, Neeks, it's fully 40 minutes after I said I would stop doing this, and I'm still here. But I'm going to call this one a close. Yeah. Make sure this isn't the last time you come on. Now we've actually now you've actually broken the duck. I expect to see you on here more often.
Good, 100%.
No worries, man.
All right, keep up the good work.
Thanks, Neeks. Yeah, much appreciated.
Yes,
wicked. Right, people, that has been the therapy session. Hope you enjoyed that one, people. That was a therapy session after our latest lick down and our latest defeat in a World Cup. I won't be doing a watch along for the Zimbabwe game because it starts at 9 o'clock UK time. And I'll be at work, but I will do this again more than likely. So join me on Wednesday evening when we could well be out of the World Cup. Big up Neeks, big up Twilly, big up Shaka, big up. Who else came on? Geo, big up Sheldon, Medvis, big up everybody who came on the live. Lots of you in the live saying big up to Neeks. I hope Neeks can see that. Sorry, in the chat, I hope Neeks can see that. Clearly, lots of you are regular watchers of Neeks on the other platforms that he's on. You lot probably didn't even realize that Neeks is a massive West Indies fan as well. So big up Neeks for coming through as well, people. Medvis, I didn't put them up. Thank you for the super chats. I'm hoping people read them. But but I was caught. I was still in the chat with Neeks. Let me just see if I can find one. Just put it up. I was still in the chat with. There we go. So that was one of them, people. Oh, that was an earlier one. I didn't even mean to put that one up. So thank you, Medvis, for the super chats earlier on. I wanted to make sure that you realize that I did see it. So thank you, everyone. And oh, Nikhil, look at this. Nikhil coming through at the last minute. What are you saying, Nikhil? What are you trying to say, Nikhil? That I can't go home? You're saying that I can't turn off? What, Nikhil? Do I have to bring Nikhil on, people? Do I have to bring Nikhil on? Just as I was about to leave, Nikhil tries to come through saying he wants to say, okay, people. I can't leave Nikhil hanging. Oh, he's in the gym. Okay, thank God. Nikhil's in the gym. Nikhil, are you coming on? Yes or no? Let me know and I'll send you the link. If you're not, I'm shutting this off now. Nikhil says he's in the gym. Nikhil wants to show his guns off, whilst he's in the gym. Nah, Nikhil, we don't want that. We don't want none of that. So, I think Nikhil's right. Nikhil says he's going to come through on Wednesday. Oh, wait. What? Let me just drop this in the. Okay, let me drop this link in the chat. Nikhil, the link's in the chat. If you want to come on, press it now. Boy, where's my scheme of work is right here for my lesson, Whilst I wait for Nikhil to press that, let me see what lesson I'm teaching tomorrow. Right, it says I'm teaching music videos and looking at stereotypical representations within music videos. Right, yes. And after that, I'm going to look at... Right, we're looking at stereotypes tomorrow in music videos. Soon plan that lesson. Right, Nikhil, he's in the gym. He's got his clothes on, people, so I'm bringing him on. Don't worry. Man is wiping the sweat off his brow. Let me bring on Nikhil. Okay, 1 second. Yes, Nikhil. Just as I was about to go and think I could do what I needed to do, you came through at the end, Nikhil. Nikhil, listen, we'll do a proper debrief. Probably on Wednesday. Well, you have to promise me to come on for the Wednesday one. But Nikhil, let me just give you the platform because I don't need to do no long intro with you. What did you make of that, Nikhil?
I'm actually, Mash, I wasn't even here last minute. I was listening to the show while I was in the gym. Actually.
Oh, okay.
I think it's fantastic. It's fantastic to hear like other perspectives as well because I mean, me and you, we always have a lot to say in terms of West Indies cricket, but it's cool to I always learn so much from hearing guys like Neeks and Medvis, etc. come on. So sometimes I just like sit in the back seat, man. But Mash, what can I say? You woke up at 5. I woke up at I stayed up till 4 a.m. watching this game, and then to just see it capitulate at the end of that, I think it was mighty disappointing, man. I mean, yes, I know, like, you look at the trends of West Indies cricket, the last 10, I think we only won 2. And you look at the fact that we're going into this World Cup, probably this is the result as expected, but you look at a Puran, you look at a Jason Holder, you look at Robin Powell and these guys, and you think, well, there has to be a point where they draw the line, and there's a point where we do get that performance, especially in this must-win situation, but I don't know, man. It just didn't seem to be there. I thought they bowled extremely well. Yes, a few things. Odin Smith last over. Kyle Mears getting a second. Fully agree with your take on that. But I think those are very small things. And when you look at the Belrive Oval and in terms of the run scoring that's going on there in the Big Bash, etc., 160, in my opinion, is very chaseable with that batting that we have, playing the extra batting all the way to Odin Smith at number 9, etc. I think we have to chase that down. And after the start, going at over 8.5 in the first 6, then to see it drop to 5 runs per over in all the overs after that, over 7 to 19, I can't explain it. And I think it's, again, problems against spin, problems rotating the strike. And I think what's happening here is, in the past, where in the Caribbean, we were sort of being bailed out. We had dot ball percentages well over 50% consistently in T20 cricket. But in the Caribbean, smaller grounds, we're able to bail ourselves out hitting boundaries. But in Australia, if you don't run the 2s, you don't run the 3s, you're going to suffer. And I think that's where Scotland showed us up. They had 42 and we had 53. And that's ridiculous, to be honest. I mean, they're the team that played 2 T20 internationals in the last year. We played well in excess of 10 to 15. So I think all of those things, especially the fact we just come off the CPL, we can't make excuses for. I've heard a lot of claims about, it's not the batting order, it's not consistent, etc. These guys have to execute. And yes, it's not easy on a World Cup stage, but in these conditions, Puran said it himself at the press conference, very good batting conditions. We have to be better, as simple as that.
What can I say to that, Nikhil? It's spot on in every way. I mean, no, because I was going to add something, but you kind of said it. But okay, no. Do you think it was more shot selection or shot execution?
Sorry, I didn't hear exactly what you said, but I heard
Right.
the last part of the question.
Yeah, sorry. So do you think it was more down to shot selection or shot execution? Because they're slightly different things.
I would say shot selection, and I'll take two instances. A Shamar Brooks, for example, I was very surprised, but I think that's sort of the situation. Him playing that pull, looking to take on a big square boundary, to me is uncharacteristic of him. And I think that's probably just a situation. Coming in at number 5, I felt slightly too late. And then the game getting away from you, you have to sort of go after it. But that was a clear indication to me that I think they just seemed a bit rushed. Credit to Scotland. I think everyone is criticizing the batting, but no one is really looking at the spin. 5 wickets for 27 runs in 8 overs between those two spinners is unbelievable. And from that very first over, when I saw Watt swinging the ball like a seamer to the two left-handers, I was like, okay, this is going to be, I think, tougher than we expect. But that, and also the Robin Powell, yes, he didn't get out on that dismissal, but that first delivery, I cannot believe it, to him to play that shot in that sort of situation in some trouble. So I definitely think it's some shot selection, but someone has got to put their hand up. I hear everyone talking about this anchor role, and I personally think anchors are overrated in T20 cricket. But when I say that, I say it with the context of someone has got to take responsibility and say, well, look, I'm going to get a score for my team. It cannot be Jason Holder coming in at number 7. It's simply too late. Somebody from that top 5 has got to deliver. You look at the best teams in the world, Australia, one of their openers always stand up, back through that power play, back through the first 10 overs, India, etc., Surya Kumar Yadav. We have to find someone, and it doesn't have to be one person over and over again. It can be others stepping up at different times. I think Puran, and I really feel for him because I think the captaincy has really taken a toll on his game. But for him not to cross 25 in the last 10 T20 internationals match, and in my opinion, the best player spinning the team, I think clearly something is wrong. So I don't know who it's going to be. And I'm telling you, I watched that Zimbabwe-Ireland game. They're coming. Zimbabwe are coming. Sikandar Raza is a serious, serious threat. Just watch them against India. They already put up a fight. So it's not going to be easy. None of these two games, Ireland already beat us in our own backyard. But we have to make improvements quickly.
What changes, if any, would you make? So just had Neeks on. Neek said bring in Sheldon and drop a batter. Would you do similar?
See, that's the thing. I think I'm happy. The thing is, I'm pretty happy. And I think the fact that Jason Holder didn't bowl his full quarter, Obed McCoy didn't bowl his full quarter, bowlers that can hit that hard length. Holder, we saw it get success when they were under the pump after the rain break. Hitting that hard length, getting the ball to tail back. Obed McCoy, we know. And then, of course, Alzari was brilliant with his pace. I think Odin Smith in the CPL, yes, he went for runs. But between the CPL and between that couple overs he got last night, barring the last over, with that variation, I trust if you get one from Mears, you have those 5, maybe even one from a Robin Powell in the middle if you can sneak him in. I'm okay with that sort of, I'm okay with that combination. So I don't think the bowling needs too much changes. If anything, maybe you go to someone like a Ray Marifa who can sort of mix things up, but then you run into the conundrum with the left-handers. The only change I think I would make, I want to see Brandon King open the innings. I just think we've invested in this opening pair, Mears and King, all year. And we wait until the World Cup to try a new pair that has not done it all since the last World Cup. They haven't played together. So I really would like to see King at the top. Evan Lewis is bad at 3. He's done it for the Rajasthan Royals. He's done it for the Mumbai Indians. If they want to have him at 3, you have Brooks at 4, and then Puran dropping down to 5, just to sort of free him up. I don't mind that. But I don't think I would make too many rash changes in terms of the playing 11. Because to me, I think it just came down to execution, not necessarily the personnel.
Interesting. Final one from me then. Puran came in. Was it after Lewis got out? Puran came in at number 4. I thought that was odd because at that point in time we were actually ahead of the game, right? Was the thinking about that rain? Like, if you have Brooks slotted in your side, he has to come in early because there's no use to Brooks coming in much later in, with respect to Shamar, there's no use to him coming in much later other than 3 or 4. So were you surprised to see Puran get an early promote himself, I guess, up the order?
Well, I'm not I believe that Brandon King was batting at the other end, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess it could be
right hand, left hand.
Yeah, but you say that, but then again, they open with 2 left-handers. So are they really trying that? But I just wonder if maybe to combat sort of the left arm spin of Watt, I'm not too sure. But to be honest, I think Shamar Brooks has got about earlier. And whether that is, I think him coming in at 5, I'd much rather someone like a Puran in at 5, even though I've been one that called for him to bat at 3 or 4, because I think your best batters need to face the most deliveries. But I just think in the run of form that he's in, with the weight of the captaincy, maybe a position at 5, if they bat first in the next year and he comes in maybe the 12th or 13th over, it frees him up and then allows him to go into that last 5 where we know he's destructive. So they've got to get it right. And I don't think it comes down to, listen, everyone has talked about the fact, as well as me, the fact that this team has chopped and changed. You know, throughout the year, they've tried to find the right combinations. Phil Simmons has been he's been not, what was the word I'm looking for? He's not been quiet about it. They've been made it clear that they're trying to find combinations. But Mash, what I find crazy is everyone is criticizing the West Indies for making these changes in the batting order. But you look at all the other T20 teams, they're all doing it. India are throwing in Surya Kumar Yadav at 3. Some games they're opening with him. Other games, you know, he's batting at 5. Virat Kohli's going up early. It's all about situations. And this T20 game is growing and growing. It's not about, for me, the positions is where these guys bat. It's just about the execution. And I think last night, well, yesterday we should say, I just don't think they executed well.
Well, Nikhil, I end it with the same question I end with everyone else. You're supremely positive, so I already know the answer. Will we beat Zimbabwe?
Mash, let me tell you something. You know, I get real heat in the groups about this, WhatsApp groups. Everybody's coming for me last night. Oh, where's Nikhil now? He's Mr. Positive. How does he think? What I will say is I'm worried. I'm very worried for that Zimbabwe because I've watched Zimbabwe closely over the last 3 months. And I think if you get Sikandaraz out early, but I do like what I'm seeing from Irvine opening the batting, and then they're bowling, blessing Mazurbani. The bounce this man was able to generate last night against the Irish. I worry for our chances, but I think this is the West Indies, man. This is the West Indies, and I'm going to have to back them. If we don't make the Super 12 match, I think this is a dark day. And I just think you have enough, not necessarily experience, but guys that have been in these situations before, Holder, Evan Lewis, Nicholas Puran, etc., who have got to find a way. I think there's going to be some breaking point where we find a way. I think it takes one single over where we maybe get 20 runs off of it, and then I think everything clicks. I mean, I don't think it's we go and win the World Cup, but I just think it's one thing. We're just missing that momentum builder that helps us go through these qualifiers. But I mean, Bangladesh lost their first game last year against Scotland, and they still qualified. So I think it's too early to give up hope, but I'm not overly optimistic that it's going to be any walk in the park because Zimbabwe are a team that are playing some seriously good cricket.
Well, Nikhil, let's touch base again on Wednesday. Obviously, everyone will be watching. Everyone will be trying to rally. Let's hope the team pulls through and pulls off a performance. And then if we do, it's another virtual knockout game versus Ireland on Friday anyway. But Nikhil, thank you for coming through, man, at the very end. I'm going to take Nikhil off, people. Cheers, Nikhil. Listen, people, that's that. I actually am now going. As Nick said, I started off saying, yeah, it's going to be a little quick half an hour. Well, it's been 1 hour and 53 minutes, people. And I actually literally now need to go and do some work. So thank you for coming through on the live. Before you go, anyone who hasn't done so, it would help the channel if you press like, press subscribe, share this afterwards to people in your WhatsApp chats or whatever and say, oh, you should watch this show. Because at the end of the day, it was, I did the monologue at the beginning and now at the end, but ultimately this was a fan show with people just coming on live and sharing their opinions, etc. We'll be back on Wednesday, people, to do the same all over again. I'll be Machel St. Patrick here at one half the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. Thank you and good night.
We rule the cricket world. Now the rule seems coming.
Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things West Indies cricket. By the fans, for the fans.